Hello, Western Civ 105. Welcome to week 9. And I'm very excited about really taking the combination of last week's module and this one and giving you an assignment that I think will be one of the most important assignments in your life. Okay, maybe, I don't know if I could really prove that, and I'll let you decide. Okay, I'm doing a definition. What I'm doing is I'm taking these two sections, and you're going to write me a paper. So you're not going to have a discussion this week. You're going to write video notes, and you're going to go over several terms that I think are very important, some of which we've already covered. And I'm going to show you some videos again on socialism and nationalism. Now, why I'm showing you again is because I want to make sure you really understand these concepts. And the reason is that these two sections that we're teaching here literally address so many things, not only which are going to be in the history coming up further down the road, and to try to understand World War I, World War II, and the Cold War, but to understand all of the political trends that are from those time periods, that are from this time period, that are reemerging right now into public discourse in a way that I have not seen in years, and in some ways never in my lifetime. So, I've been posting some videos dealing with the whole socialist communist thing and Bernie Sanders and all of that. Look, I want to make something very clear. As I've said, I do have my own political bias on points of view about politics and these topics. And every professor does. Every human does. You're lying if you say that you don't. I mean, come on, right? So we have opinions, and you'll probably see some of my sympathies come out. But what I'm hoping to do is expose you to various ideas, so that it's not just me trying to promote a particular set of ideas. I also just really want you to be educated on what these ideas are. Because what I will tell you, from people that hold that claim to be on my side of politics that I've developed for myself, and my sympathies throughout history as I look at different developments and people and events, whether it's people on my side or the other side, or all the different sides, there are a lot of people who are getting the things wrong, the terms wrong, the events wrong. They're downplaying things they shouldn't downplay in terms of bad results of certain things, or, glossing over ones of others. And this is something that I see that's been happening on all sides of these debates. So I am going to be teaching you about very specific history from this time period, but this is tremendously applicable to the discussions taking place right now. And what I'm also hoping that you'll see, that I'm trying to point out, is that many of these terms have changed just slightly, and they also are somewhat different depending on the location of places. So I just want to reiterate, you're learning about classic liberalism. Classic liberalism and classic conservatism. I mean, most conservatives in the United States are anti-monarchy, right? So we learned about the conservatives in Europe that were coming out. They were very much pro-monarchy. Well, we're not. That's not what a conservative is in the United States. When a Russian says that they're conservative in Russia, they want strong vertical power. They want hierarchy. There's a saying, God and then his czar, right? Now, they don't have the czar anymore, but in other words, an American conservative wants decentralization of the government. So A Russian conservative and an American conservative may view certain similarities on their moral side of things. They might want a more traditional family arrangement. They might be against gay marriage or skeptical of that, or blah, blah, blah. Like those kind of culture wars. But on another level, they're very different. Even Europe pretty much uses the term liberal when it comes to economics the way that the classical sense is used. So when you hear about people in Europe protesting liberal economic policies, that's not the same as what's happening in the United States. When the word liberal is being used, what I mean, okay? It means opening up to capitalism, privatization, getting rid of social institutions. If you accuse somebody of being a liberal in the United States, you're thinking of somebody who, supports welfare, right? That's the exact opposite when we're talking about economics. Now, again, when we talk about if you talk about a European liberal on cultural matters like an American, they're pro-gay marriage, those kind of topics, yes, then the word still applies. But if you sometimes see, like in a European, it'll call themselves the political party will be called the Liberal Party, they're a very different set of politics than what that would mean in the United States. Okay? So this is important because now all of these terms that have kind of evolved and split off into different forms kind of confuse us when we're studying this time period and looking at the more traditional ways of looking at them. So for the sake of this assignment, I want you sticking to this time period's definitions. If you would like, you can incorporate modern views or ways that these terms have been used. But I'd prefer you to just I want you to get a strong background of understanding of how they were used then. And then you can look and compare and contrast and see for yourself how these terms apply or don't apply to where you're at now. Okay? And so, and look, the term Zionism, I cover the Israel-Palestine conflict just a little bit. We're going over Zionism. I'm going to post something that I thought was important to bring up, that there was a book around this time period at the beginning of the 20th century called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is an anti-Semitic book that accuses Jews of taking over the world kind of thing. And it was understood to be a fraud, but it's still very popular on the internet and many people still believe it is the truth. And so here's where it gets confusing. Sometimes people talk about Jews and Zionism and they're making a statement that usually the white nationalists or Nazi type folks would be talking about a Jewish global conspiracy. Then there's the Zionism, which I'm talking about here, the political Zionism of the 19th century that still plays into modern Israeli politics, which is a form of Jewish nationalism. So if somebody wants to criticize a form of Jewish nationalism and they say that they're critical of Zionism, that's different than the other kind of Zionism you're talking about, the made-up kind that now you're kind of talking about a whole other different topic. Do you see what I'm saying? So I want you to keep that in mind. And this is an important topic to understand because we're now having a Democratic candidate, Ilhan Omar, the Somali refugee that actually now is a member of Congress in the Democratic Party. And she's taking a lot of heat for making criticism of Israel. And the whole topic of Zionism in Israel is now a huge topic from the left and the right. And can you do that, and is that anti-Semitic or not? So to really understand that discussion, this is also going to help you out as well. And then this week I'm also covering, and I wish I could go over more, we're dealing with stuff like Ireland and some other nationalist issues that are still not fully resolved. This history has a lot to do with the drama that's taking place over Brexit in the UK and the hard line of the border of Northern Ireland. Now, I'm not going to go any further with that. I might have already just lost you. But If not, and you have a question, then you can ask me. The point is, what I'm saying is, I can tell you right now that many, many things going on and so many discussions internationally and nationally require you to know some of the things that are many of the things that we're discussing here. Okay, so take your time with this. Feel free again to contact me to get some qualifications and clear up some things. I will tell you, just to say one more time, I've had some confusion over these things because many people have, because of all of the ways that these terms have split. So just to give you an example, this last one, and I'm going to let you go soon. So in America, as I've talked about, if you followed anything I've been posting, many Democrats like Bernie Sanders and Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez, known as AOC, and some others are calling themselves democratic socialists. And in Europe, and they say, there's an interview with Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders that they want, their vision of socialism is what they see in the Nordic countries like Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, things like that. But those parties are, those systems are called social democracies, not democratic socialists. Although they've been supported by democratic socialists. Oh my goodness! Wait, do you want me to try to clarify, help you out? I've kind of tried to draw some attention to this. What's interesting is that all my friends in the the social democracies see the vision of Bernie Sanders and some of these social democrats in the United States as having the same vision as of them, and they like them, but they are usually not using that term. And so I'll let you decide if that, doesn't, what to make of that. Yeah. So I'm not going to try to really draw in, like have a debate about what we all think about current politics. I just simply want to draw out the fact that this confusion, it's understandable to be confused, and I'm hoping this will help us out a little bit. And then actually one more thing to say. White nationalism and just nationalism in general is on the rise. And when I was in Europe, the one thing that I saw, things that we call socialism in the United States are popular in Europe and they work. So I just need to say that. That's going to sound like my propaganda, but no, I'm sorry, folks. They do. Nobody was going to get rid of universal health care. There's no political party in Europe, not even a conservative party, that will try to get rid of universal health care. And they all have universal health care. Okay? So these are the kind of things that are labeled socialist in the United States and inherently leftist, and those are just considered bread and butter things that a nation state would do. Where there is a real strong political divide in Europe is the issue over refugees and national identity and the power of the EU versus the power of the nation state. And so some of this, again, you may not be following with me, but my point is that there is a resurgence of this kind of ultra-nationalism and even a lot of sympathy for the Nazi Party again. And some of these ideologies that seem to have been long kind of discredited are actually coming out in the open now. And a lot of the far right are actually repackaging themselves as just basically good old nationalists caring about the nation. We will be learning more about World War I and World War II and fascism later and what that really is. And that's another misused term. I don't incorporate it yet because this is not a part of the political discussion yet at this time period, okay? But it will be rooted in nationalism and socialism to some degree, but not as much, and that's confusing as well, and I'll clarify that at another time as well. So, I hope you're having a good week. Please contact me if you have any questions, and we'll be in touch.